30 days from now, you could have a peaceful home that is the launch pad for you living your dream life. This video is for the moms who want to organize their house in 30 days, specifically lazy moms. Now, you might be saying, wait, organizing my entire home in 30 days is not a lazy mom project. That sounds like a lot of work. Yes, it is. It is a lot of work for 1 month. That is all I'm asking you to commit to. I'm going to share some tips today to make it easy for you to quickly organize your entire house in just 30 days so that you never have to reorganize it again. Okay? Because just like I said, your home does not need to be a burden. It can be the launch pad that launches you to success in living your best life. So many of us are living in cluttered homes that are making life harder. It's harder to cook, it's harder to clean, it's harder to find my keys every day when I'm living in a cluttered home. And I know these tips work because I actually was the first person who used these methods to organize my entire home in 30 days. I'm not trying to say no one has ever done that before, because I'm sure they have. But I was a busy mom. I was actually 6 weeks postpartum. I moved into my parents' house to house sit for them while they lived out of the country for 3 years. They left their house furnished. I brought all of my stuff, immediately overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. I could not tell you how panicked I felt, and I could never get comfortable, and I just wanted to recover and rest and be a mom. So I committed for 30 days. I was on fire. I was unstoppable. Recovering from a C-section couldn't stop me. I was desperate to find that peace, and I used these tips to organize my entire house in 30 days, and I know you can do the same thing. And once you finish this big project, then you can be so lazy. Then you can rest. Your home will be easy and effortless to manage. You'll have an easy cleaning rhythm to maintain everything, and that's all I want for you, because then you'll have the time and mental capacity to do whatever you want, which is exactly what we talk about here on this channel. So let's start with tip number 1. The first thing you're gonna do to complete this 30-day home organization project and revert back to your lazy ways is to commit to the timeline, okay? So I want you to say right now, open your calendar and say, in 30 days, my house will be organized. What day is that? Mark that day on your calendar. Or maybe you don't want to start this project till Monday. You want to plan for a little bit. That's totally fine. Maybe you're watching this on a Thursday. It feels like a weird day to start. That's fine. Just pick a 30-day chunk of time where you will absolutely commit to the bit, do what you can in order to accomplish this goal. Having a timeline was huge for me because I think that's part of the reason homes don't get organized so much, is it just feels like such a massive project. It's so easy to put off. And we're like, ugh, that sounds boring. There's other stuff to do. I'm gonna put it off again and again for years and years and years. We don't want that for you. You want to have an organized house, a base organized house where everything has a place, you know where it belongs, and it's easy to maintain. So we're going to commit to a 1-month chunk of time, 30 days. For those 30 days, I want you to pause as many other activities as you can. Now, like I said, at the time, I was a mom, I had a newborn. There's a lot of things you can't pause in motherhood. You have to still feed the kids. You have to still take care of them, get them to where they need to go, do bedtime routines, right? There's a lot. But here's some things I did pause in this 30-day window. Number 1, I gave up all my screen time, okay? I was filming my own journey and progress, which was fun, and you can go back and look at some of those videos, but I did not watch anything for about 30 days, hardly anything. No movies. Nighttime and nap time especially were the times when I got the most done. And normally I spend those times like doom scrolling or relaxing to a show. I just invite you to let go of that for 1 month. Then every month after, you can binge watch all your shows and catch up on everything. But for 1 month, can you commit to letting go of screen time or other hobbies in order to get this project done? And then you'll never have to reorganize everything again. Imagine you take a 30-minute break from maybe social events, screen time, reading, hobbies. You take a 30-day break, and it allows you to have so much more time and mental space afterwards to do all those things even more and even better. Maybe right now you're coming home from a long day and you want to go socialize, but the kitchen is a mess and it takes forever to get dinner on the table. And it's so annoying, and then you're exhausted, and then you don't want to go socialize, and it kind of hampers that event. If instead you had your kitchen completely organized, like ready to go at a moment's notice, and cooking dinner became effortless, then you'd have so much energy to go and socialize afterwards and have so much fun. So, look at your calendar, look at your life, jot down how you've been spending your time the past few days, and look for areas where you can let go of stuff, put a pause on activities in order to make time for finishing this project in 1 month. Step number 2, you're going to use the PDA method. This is a super simplified method I've developed to help you quickly organize every area in your home, no matter how big or small. Okay? PDA, as you probably know, usually stands for Public Displays of Affection. We're going to use it to publicly display affection for your home, yourself, and your family by using it in this way. P stands for purpose, D stands for delete, and A stands for add. So every time you open a drawer, the first thing you're going to do is assign a purpose to the drawer. Because if any space in your home doesn't have a purpose, it will become a catch-all. It will get unorganized, because what's the purpose of it? You can't tell whether or not it is organized if it doesn't have a purpose, okay? Except you can tell because you're uncomfortable opening the drawer and saying, ugh, I don't even want to go in here. It doesn't have a purpose. It feels cluttered all the time. I can never find what I need. That's how you know you need to assign the purpose first. But then, once you assign the purpose of the drawer or the cupboard or the shelf or the entire room, you can use this on a small scale and a big scale. Once you have the purpose, then it's so clear what doesn't align with the purpose. You can open your drawer, which is now for makeup, and see that all the stuff that's not makeup, all the hair things, all the toys, all the paper clutter, doesn't belong. Step number 2 of PDA is to delete anything that doesn't align with the purpose, okay? And again, once you start with a purpose, once you start by making a few decisions, deleting becomes so much more effortless. You don't have to pick up every single thing and say, do I need this? Could I use this? You just have to focus on the purpose of the one spot and say, does this belong here? No. Okay. Then you're going to have a box following around you to every room full of the stuff that doesn't belong somewhere. And near the end of your journey, you'll make a new home for these things that don't belong, or you'll realize that you don't want to manage them anymore. They don't belong in your home at all because you have everything in your home. Everything in your home has a purpose, and all the stuff in those purposeful cabinets and drawers belongs there. And then step number 3 of PDA is to add. Once you do a lot of decluttering, it'll be so easy to organize what's left over, because you're only going to keep the stuff that aligns with the purpose of the space. And then it'll be also easy to add what might be missing. Maybe the purpose of this drawer is for makeup, and you realize you don't even have your favorite makeup product. You always wanted a perfect lip product and never got one. So now, to make this drawer complete, you'll add your perfect lip product. Or maybe you want the space to be very organized, and so you'll add the perfect size and shape of a basket to keep things sorted out. Maybe it's not adding anything physical. Maybe you'll wipe off a counter space and realize you want to add that motion of cleaning this space to the weekly routine. And so you'll go to your weekly rhythm and you'll add in different areas that you actually want to spend more time cleaning and maintaining. You realize just one wipe across the vanity once a week is going to keep it so clean and fresh and support the purpose of having a beautiful space for you to feel beautiful and pour into yourself and pamper yourself. You see what I'm saying? It all goes together and all builds up. And the beauty of this method is that the more you practice it, the easier it gets. Once you assign a purpose to one drawer, it becomes easier to understand how powerful it is to assign a purpose to every area in your house. And once every area has a purpose, it becomes so clear what's standing in the way and what needs to be deleted, maybe from that spot or even from your entire life. Maybe you don't want to hold on to your skis anymore because you haven't gone skiing for a long time, and they don't fit in the garage space which supports your gardening hobby now. Skis don't belong there. Maybe it's time to let them go, you know? All right, so that's the second step. First, you've committed to the timeline. You're like, this is the plan, I'm gonna do it. You marked the days in your calendar. Next, you learned about the PDA method, and now you know you can confidently go to any area in your house and know exactly what to do. It's a very simple process, PDA, over and over and over again. Number 3, the best, most helpful thing I learned decluttering my entire house quickly was to make as many decisions as possible before touching any of the stuff. Here's the truth. We humans just love stuff. We're materialist people for a good reason, because things are beautiful. We, especially women, we are really great at seeing the beauty in things. And as moms, we're really great at figuring out how to use something. So if you walk into your room and say, okay, I'm gonna touch everything, see if it sparks joy, and then organize it, chances are you won't let go of anything. Because again, you are a brilliant, scrappy human being, and you'll pick up an old ratty pillow that you don't need anymore, and you'll say, you know what if I keep this for just in case? What if I end up using this for a project? What if someone ends up requesting this specific pillow? What I'm trying to say is, if you pick up all the things, if you walk right in and start organizing with your hands, it's gonna be overwhelming. You're gonna have so many things on your mind. You're gonna have so many reasons to keep everything, and maybe even keep everything where it is, because there's no plan. Where else are you gonna move it to? So helpful, I have found, is to make as many decisions beforehand as possible. And here's a few examples. Number 1, since you know the PDA method, you can start assigning the purpose of things before you even go into the room, okay? You can think about your bedroom and say, you know what, the purpose of the bedroom is to help me wind down for sleep and get started in the morning. And then you can walk in and look and see, a craft desk, and say, you know what, this is way too stimulating. This does not help me wind down or get started for the day. In fact, it's in the way and it needs to be relocated throughout the house. And if you already have that purpose planned out, it just becomes so much easier to stay on course once you get into the room. Another great example that helped me so much is to map out zones. So I would get little scraps of paper, whatever was nearby. I was not very organized. So I was learning this as I went. Sometimes I would organize, for example, the bathroom vanity. This happened. The bathroom cupboards, I guess, the whole bathroom. It was so overwhelming. I started pulling stuff out. There were so many piles. I was like, what am I doing here? And then I came back and I made a map. I said, you know what? There's a few zones in this bathroom that I want to have. A zone for cleaning, a zone for makeup, a zone for hair things, a zone for my husband's hair things, a zone for tissues. And I drew literally a map. I mapped out how many shelves there were, how many cupboards, and I drew it all on a paper. And then I put the zones, I wrote down the zones on the paper map. And then when I walked into the bathroom, it was so easy. I didn't have to make a decision for every single thing I picked up. Sometimes that's exactly what drags us down when we're trying to organize, especially if you want to organize your entire home quickly. Picking every single thing up and trying to make 2,000 decisions in 1 hour is going to be so overwhelming. We don't even have the human capacity for that, right? But if instead you came in with a map and you just had to sort everything according to the map, you suddenly take out so many decisions. You're just following the map. You just have to do what it says. This is also how it becomes effortless, because then, without having to make so many decisions and focus so much mental energy, you could put on a podcast. You could put on some music. You can have your kids playing nearby, and you won't feel so overwhelmed and like you're going crazy, because you don't really have to think about it. You're just following the map. Another huge area I recommend this for is the kitchen. The kitchen can be so overwhelming. There's so many gadgets that we need to make kitchen life and cooking easier. But if there's no map, if there's no plan, again, you have 1,000 things to make a decision about. And every single thing you pick up, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm tired of just deciding stuff. Instead, you could draw out a little map, draw out a little zone, draw out the pantry, how many shelves you have, and start assigning categories. Okay, in the kitchen, we have a map, we've got a baking zone, a cooking zone, cleaning, food storage, dishes. In the pantry, we've got breakfast food, lunch food, drinks, snacks, fruit. You know? If you plan that out beforehand, it doesn't even have to take that long, 5 minutes. It becomes so effortless to just organize because you're just following the map. You're also using the PDA method along the way, deleting what doesn't belong, making sure you're staying aligned to the purpose, adding anything that is missing, but suddenly you can turn your brain off. And then it's just not so exhausting. And then you just have to commit some time to be there, to be in the space, to organize the things according to the map, to follow the plan, to tweak it if necessary. And that is how you will have the stamina to organize your entire house even in 30 days. Now, if you want to be even lazier, I actually have a tool that you can use. It's called my Organize Your Home in 30 Days guidebook. And I actually have the 30 days mapped out for you if you want that. I literally took a calendar and we fleshed out different projects you could do every day for 30 days to organize your entire home. Now it also has maps that you can use for every single room. And at the beginning of the grid paper, it says, what room are we working on? What's the purpose of the room? What needs to be deleted? What needs to be added? And then there's little graph paper so that you can map out cupboards or the bird's eye view of the kitchen or how many shelves you have in the pantry, and then you can write in what is going into each shelf. So you can just print them out, fill them out. You could literally be laying in bed while you do this before you start your project, and then it just becomes so easy to walk in, follow the map, get things done. So if you feel called, totally check out that guidebook. It's the tool I wish I had when I started this crazy project. It also has more in-depth analysis of the PDA method and some more behind the scenes of how to organize your home so efficiently that you can even do it in 30 days. So definitely check that out. But I'm hoping, whether or not you use that, this video has helped you figure out how to make a plan to have a peaceful home in 30 days. And imagine how much better your life could be in 1 month if your whole home was organized by then and you never had to reorganize the entire thing ever again. Of course, as moms, as parents, as families, we'll still have inventory coming in and things going out. But once you've spent 30 days mastering that PDA method, figuring out the purpose of each area, deleting what doesn't belong, it'll become easier for you to practice that in your real life. And every day, when stuff comes home, when stuff gets delivered to your house, when stuff gets gifted to you, you'll be able to say, I have been practicing looking at my stuff and seeing if it fits into the purpose of my life and deleting it if it doesn't. And you'll be able to do that with each incoming piece of inventory. And you'll say, the purpose of this thing is to help me feel pampered. So I know it belongs in my vanity. And I have a drawer set aside for that. And I deleted a lot of the stuff that doesn't fit in that drawer, so there is space for this new thing. You know? Suddenly your whole home will become so much easier to maintain. Another thing in my guidebook is the weekly cleaning rhythm that I use to maintain my home, because once it's all organized, you don't want it to go back to the dumps. You want to be able to clean it just a little bit every day to keep it exactly where it is. But I also have more videos on cleaning rhythms if you want to watch that. So I really just hope you have exactly what you need now to organize your entire home in 30 days, because let me tell you, it feels so good. And going back to when I was in that postpartum stage with 2 little kids trying to declutter everything, I cannot tell you the relief I felt when I finally checked off the last area of my house that needed to be clean. And since then, I've had so much more time and mental space to work on other stuff. I recovered from my C-section, I've been raising my kids, we're living a beautiful life, And then I even had the time to start building a business on YouTube. I'm growing this YouTube channel, I'm growing an Instagram page, built digital products, lots of exciting things. And that's exactly what I want for you too. I firmly believe that simplifying your home and life is exactly what you need to launch into your dream life. Sometimes the only thing holding us back are all the distractions and all the clutter that just ends up there before we learn how to become curators of our lives. I'm inviting you to become a curator of your life. Become the kind of person who knows what the purpose of your life is and cuts out anything that doesn't align with that purpose. You could have a peaceful home in 30 days. Oh, your challenge right now, if you're up for it, is to walk around real quick and get some before pictures of your home. Because nothing feels better than having before and after pictures. And I believe in 30 days, you could have those after pictures if you commit to these steps. Make sure to comment 30 if you are going to do this challenge and you're excited about it. Oh yeah, make sure to subscribe if you need some motivation. I'm here to keep you accountable and keep talking about this because, again, it's just so important and I'm so passionate about it and about helping moms live their best lives by not drowning in their house and all their stuff and not feeling overwhelmed all the time, but prioritizing mental health and simplifying and working on dream passion projects. So make sure to subscribe if you're here for that, if you want some more of that, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.